Options, options, options. What we're finding is that yes, there is ChatGPT out there, but there are other options for you that you can utilize that might serve your clients better. Today, we're going to have an AI showdown where we're going to compare them in a way that helps you decide which one helps you serve your clients the best.
Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash. I'm your co-host, Rajiv Sajja, with my amazing co-host, Jimmy Burgess. And today's episode, by the way, is an AI showdown. Well, competition is always good, Jimmy, right?
That's exactly right.
And we've been falling in love with ChatGPT, but there have been some worthy competitors that have come behind that need some mention. So today's episode is about a comparison between ChatGPT, Claude, and Google's Gemini. We're going to focus on the free versions, because we care about our agents not to spend money frivolously. Although we think the ChatGPT paid version is a really good one. But today is about free comparisons so you can use what makes sense for your business. And that's really what we want to have you get out of it. And I will present 5 different comparisons feature-wise on each of these 3 large language models, as we call it. And Jimmy is going to give an agent perspective. So we're going to go back and forth and we will dive in. So ready to go, Jimmy?
Yes, I will say, Raji, one thing that's great about this is as we continue to see this technology evolve and as competitors come into the market, these are probably things you and I will do as we see new models come available, because it's going to, each time that a new model comes available, it actually sharpens the other models, and it's like they're building and they're growing each other. So this is going to be fun, because as we see, specifically as agents, there are certain ones that if you're doing certain things, there may be a little difference where one would help you a little better than the other. So I'm excited to get started on it.
All right. So the feature 1 is context window. So for people that have not heard our earlier episodes, a context window is very simply the amount of memory the chat bot, in this case, GPT, Claude, or Gemini, have. So after a while, they tend to forget if the memory is less or the context window is less. So let's talk about ChatGPT free. Currently, as of this episode, because GPT-5 is impending, so we have a standard disclaimer as of this episode recording. So ChatGPT free version is 8192 tokens. So a token is very similarly a bunch of words. So after that, it tends to not remember the conversation. So that's ChatGPT free is 8192. Claude, on the other hand, from Anthropic, which Amazon made a big investment into, was started at 9,000 tokens, went to 100,000 tokens. But as of this episode in April, it appears Claude has no limit.
Right.
Okay.
You want to explain the tokens also a little bit, just in case somebody is not familiar with roughly what that means?
Yeah. So, letters make up words and words make up tokens, right? So think of 8192. They say that's about 30,000 words.
Right.
So after you start to do all these prompts and with our 4 Ps, and you tend to write a blog post and then say, turn it into this article, at some point, you're going to run out of it. And on one of our earlier episodes, Jimmy, we covered Token Counter as a Chrome plugin. It's a great way to keep track, because nobody's going to keep track of what your token counter is. And that ChatGPT Chrome plugin allows you to keep track of that on GPT. And Gemini, on the other hand, context window size in the free version is 128,000 tokens. So that's context window. And if you're an agent listening to this, and how would you approach this, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I want to give a context to this and give an example of what, and if you go back to episode 4, we talked about specifically on how to really utilize ChatGPT to take your listing presentation to a whole other level. We called it the Chick-fil-A on Sunday program, that if you use it, it will absolutely be closed when you get in that listing presentation. But basically, what we talked about in that is we were asking it to do multiple MLS descriptions. And then below that, we were asking it, then convert this to a Facebook post, to a LinkedIn article, then can give us 25 ways to market this. And we went through this series of things. And what you can run into sometimes is with the free versions is ChatGPT, for instance, you may run out of space when you're doing those. So when we're thinking of that, if you're going to use the free version, ChatGPT may be a little limiting on making sure if you're going to have a ongoing conversation that you may not have with some of the others. But Just think it from a standpoint that if you're wanting to have an ongoing conversation, if we were to sit here at some point, we're going to forget what we were talking about 30 minutes ago, an hour ago. It's the same way with this. So we just want to make sure as an agent that if you're wanting to have an ongoing conversation, either that paid version or look at some of these other options to ChatGPT, because Gemini, I mean, it's dramatically higher on the free versions for those.
Yep. Well said. Well said. All right. Feature number 2 is multimodal input. As we recall, when we were early in our ChatGPT journey, and they were the only large language model, it was all text-based. So multimodal basically means that you can ask text questions, you can upload images, you can upload videos, audio files. So multi-mode is the concept. So ChatGPT and Claude free versions are primarily text-based. So this is where Gemini is multimodal. You can upload images, audio files, video, and text. We're not going to go to computer coding because although we're consider ourselves geeks, but we're not that kind of geeks. So Gemini wins in this category as of this episode because it can handle multimodal.
Yeah. And I would say as an agent, also think of it this way. And again, we're talking free versions, as we've talked about. The paid version with ChatGPT has this capability. But one of the ways that as agents we've utilized this is that if we are doing video walkthroughs of homes, or if we're doing videos of market updates, one of the things that we've done is we'll take that video, we will then put it in there and ask ChatGPT to convert this then into a blog post or a LinkedIn article. And it will take, based on the video, it will just listen to the video and then it will put it in written form, which is save some steps. So again, if you're looking at the free versions here and you're someone that wants to take something like a video and convert it into a blog post or something in an article, or even something where you're just doing a social media post off of a video, then you're probably going to want to make sure that you're utilizing the correct one that's going to help you do that. And that free version, again, Gemini is going to show itself to be superior in this case as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The third feature now is internet access, right? Access to real-time data. And ChatGPT, we know the free version is April 2022. I think that bridge will be narrowed over time. It's just data storage, etc. Does not have internet access beyond that because it's the free version. And Claude does not seem to cite sources or functionality that indicates it has access to the internet. And this is, again, a win for Gemini because it is owned by Google. It is connected to Google Search, providing real-time data and internet connectivity on internet access.
Yeah, and as an agent, this is giving you the capability that if you're trying to put together social media posts on activities that are happening in your local area this coming week, if you're wanting to get updated sales data, if you're wanting to do something that is more in line with what's happening right now, this is where Gemini, obviously, because of the connection to Google, is going to obviously be superior. And just if you're someone that wants fresh, new information that you're going to utilize right now and that you're going to source through one of the AI platforms, obviously Gemini, because of Google, is going to outperform here as well.
Definitely, definitely. So what I'm finding is when I started testing all these things, Jimmy, there are 3 tabs. We're going to go to a demo here soon.
Yes, great.
I had GPT open, Claude open, and Gemini open. So you almost could go to the right one based on what you're trying to do. So that works out. So the fourth feature is custom instructions, custom prompt instructions. So we dedicated a whole episode, I think episode 8. We talked about custom instructions in ChatGPT. It enables users to give a specific role ahead of time based on the custom instructions, like social media marketer, property marketing, email marketing, negotiation coaching, whatever those things are. And we did the whole episode. You should go back to that episode because we linked all the custom roles. So ChatGPT is excellent at this, gives you access in the free version for custom instructions. Claude and Gemini don't have that in the free version, don't have that ability today. So that's a good one as well for ChatGPT.
Yeah, and in the previous episode, I would go back and watch this, but I'm going to give you kind of the cliff notes of a couple of areas. One of the things that was great in that is that we could get very specific. We talk about, and you teach obviously with Rise as the role that you want to have your first sentence giving the role of what you want in your prompt. But a lot of times you want that to go a lot deeper. And so when you're utilizing this, if you're wanting to have something where you're going to give it very specific about what the role is, what their expertise is, this is something that we've seen tremendous help as far as getting that set up, utilizing that, and it's really giving us a better result for the actual results we're getting from those prompts once we're using those as well. So ChatGPT here, got to give it a thumbs up as far as comparison on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the final one is content creation. I think we're all creators. Well,
Right.
maybe before the AI, very few people were creators. More people were consumers of content. But now everybody can become a creator because you have access to tools like ChatGPT. Content creation. So ChatGPT is excellent in this area. Even the free version to write short form content, long form content, and it is all the tones that we have. All of those things are very baked into ChatGPT. Google Gemini is good. It gives multiple options. It creates 3 drafts. When we go to a demo, we'll see that. But is not as powerful as ChatGPT in our assessment on the free version. Now, Claude is very good. I would put Claude slightly ahead of Gemini in content creation because it provides concise and well-formatted responses for content creation. But I would give ChatGPT free version for content creation the nod in this area. Any thoughts on that, Jimmy?
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is one of those that the original is the best in this case, I guess you could say. We've utilized this. So if you're an agent, you're thinking, okay, well, what are we talking about? Content creation. So this would be where you would go in and you would just ask it to do things like 7 things to know before buying a home in your city, and it's going to give you a blog post. It's going to make it, or you could ask it to make a Instagram post with 7 reasons selling your home in whatever season it is in your city makes sense. Whatever you're doing as far as creating that, it's going to do it very concisely. Don't be afraid also, and this is what I liked about it too, is not only does it give you this, but you have the ability to adjust it. So if it comes in and you're like, well, that's a little long, hey, can you shorten this to a LinkedIn SEO optimized LinkedIn article that is 500 words or 300 words or whatever you decide? I love the flexibility, the content creation. There is no excuse anymore for any agent not to be a content creator because ChatGPT in this case makes it so easy.
Yeah, 100%. All right, those are the 5 feature sets we've covered. So based on the use case, you're going to have to pick the right one for you, and hopefully this episode will help you. But hey, we're all about putting things to the test. So using the same things on the 3 platforms. So this is about a live demo. So if you're listening to the podcast, it'd be a good time to tune into our YouTube on this one to see live. But we'll talk through it so you'll see what's going on. And Jimmy, you be the judge today.
Yeah, and as you're going there, just so you guys know, you can either go and just go on to if you go onto YouTube and you search for Jimmy Burgess or Rajiv Sajja, you're going to be able to find our YouTube channels. This will be titled the same basically as the title that we will utilize that you're seeing if you're listening to this on the podcast. So you'll be able to find it that way if you search it that way as well.
Yeah. So I got a standard prompt, one of our fun prompts that we do. So I have ChatGPT open, Gemini open, and Claude open here. So here we go on the first one. This is a standard one. Your role is an experienced consumer analyst, residential real estate, audience is equity. Tell me 5 frustrations, 5 wants, 5 desires, and map it in a table form with x-axis showing this, y-axis showing this. And we're familiar with this prompt. If you want to get this prompt, it's also in our playbook. Check back into a previous episode. The playbook has this. It's one of Jimmy's favorite prompts, by the way.
Hey, while you're pulling this up and it's doing this, tell them where they can find the prompt or where they can find the playbook. Because if you haven't gone on and you haven't subscribed to receive our updates via email and you haven't gotten that yet, it's an asset that's free. It's available for everybody. Where would you send them for that?
Yep. On every episode, there's a website at the bottom. It's called realestateaiflash.com. And if you visit that website, the playbook is right on the homepage, and it will be, and bookmark the playbook because we make constant updates. So you have the most current version at any given time. So
that's great.
Here we go, Jimmy. So this is what it came up with. I'm going to copy and paste the same prompt. ChatGPT came up with desires, and it sort of struggled here a little bit, but it started writing this here. Dreams, desires, and frustrations, and wants, fears. It gave it, but it didn't really follow my instructions a little bit on the table format. But I'm going to do the same thing. We'll come back and assess this and tell me which one you're going to pick. So here's Gemini, and let's see what it does. And we'll come back to Gemini. I'm going to do Claude. So we'll go back and assess, and you will be our judge, Jimmy, today. So here we go. So this is what Claude came up with.
Still,
Five
every single
frustrations.
time, every single time when it does this and the speed at which it does, it still is just incredible to me. I still get amazed by it.
Yeah, and you can obviously copy it and paste it out, but Gemini gave this. I mean, it kind of did a little bit more work here. It put it in a table, but it also gave like highlights, like keywords. And the other thing I like about Gemini, and it gives you obviously 3 drafts. You can look at different drafts. But the other thing it does is, in order for you to export this in GPT, although GPT seems to have struggled, Claude, it's hard to get it into a nice little table form somewhere else outside of the LLM. But if I were to go here and say, hey, I can export it to Google Sheets, but I could also say, go down here and say, click the wrong button there. Let's go click this and say, export to Docs, Google Docs. And it'll give you a Google Doc that if I stop the share and reshare my whole screen, that would be helpful so you can see this. And you'll see Open Docs, and you will see the entire boom, right? It just so Gemini excels in the concept because it's integrated with the Google ecosystem of Docs, email, Sheets. And if you're a Google user, it is helpful, but all of them seem to have done a pretty decent job. GPT gave it in a word-based form. Maybe it just didn't understand my instructions, although I copied and pasted the same thing. And it gave me all the desires, dreams, frustrations, wants, and fears. So, and that's a good test for now. So let's kind of look at another test. I have a PDF now. I wanted to read a large PDF and pull out some highlights, right? So I have a specific PDF I pulled from the NAR report of annual report from home buyers and sellers. So as you can see in GPT, you can't really upload anything on the free one. It's a text-based. We talked about multimodal. Can't do much here. Gemini, you can upload an image, but you can't really upload a PDF. This is where Claude, the free version, it tells you here, if I hover over, you can upload docs or images to Claude, up to 10 megabytes. So you got to be careful with the size. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my AI showdown. There it is. I got ready for this episode, Jimmy. So there is that. I'm basically saying, look through this 137-page report and tell me the highlights for first-time home buyers. And I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to basically summarize my first-time home buyer stuff.
Yes.
And that was so quick too, right? I mean, the speed of Claude, I'm impressed by the speed of Claude.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to think about if you're into research and doing a lot of documentation and studying documents like contracts or PDFs. Again, be careful if you don't upload confidential stuff, but if you need to put up there and kind of do a summary, Claude seems to have a leg up on the others in terms of free version. Right, Jimmy?
Rajiv, I'll just kind of give a little insight too. I am testing a lot of things all the time. One of the things I'm testing is obviously with YouTube being a Google-owned company, is Gemini going to provide me with a better SEO optimized description for certain things. And so far, it does appear when I compare them side by side that they do. I don't know that doesn't change in the future, but as of now, when you're looking back on that, also, even just looking at the subject matter on the previous prompt that you did, where we're talking about some of those fears, some of those desires, in Claude, it's giving you these and it's telling you uncertainty about current home values. Well, when you go over to Gemini, it's giving you almost a search keyword, when you're talking about this. It's like, it's giving you something that is probably going to be a higher SEO search term for the title of whatever it is that you're doing. At least that is what I'm seeing right now. So I would encourage everybody to do what we just did, what Rajiv just did. Set them up side by side, because specifically, as we talked about, as an agent or as a user, whether you're using this in your real estate business or in just life in general, what you're going to find as you do this is there will be certain things that each of them do better. And only you're going to be able to find that out. We're going to give you our opinions, but the practicality of you going in there and doing it yourself and finding that is going to be very important, I think, even as we go forward as well.
Yeah, 100%. So the last test we'll do is, obviously, we know that ChatGPT is text-based only. We want to do an image. Can it read images effectively? So we're going to focus on Gemini and Claude on this one. So I'm going to drop an image that I have about home equity here from our Keeping Current Matters friends, and have it read what percentage of homeowners have greater than 50% equity from the graphic attack villa. So we're going to do that and do that in Claude as well. And we are on desktop, and there's my equity. And let's paste that and run it here. Let's look at what Gemini has come up with. And it basically did the right stuff here. It combined, there was two areas I wanted to see, make sure it did. It showed 68.7% of homeowners have paid off their mortgage or have at least 50%. So it combined the two pies and gave me that right answer. And yeah, same thing, let's see if Claude did the same thing. 68.7. You know, one of the things I like about Claude is it just gets to the point. It doesn't belabor the point. Like, look at this. You ask me a question, that's it. Gemini goes on a little bit. So a little bit verbose versus, but both came up with the right answer, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, like with that, what you're talking about of dropping those images in, one of the things that we've been doing, because like you said, the Keeping Current Matters stuff, or whether you're using RPR or whatever you're finding graphics. But I like with Keeping Current Matters, the picture tells a story, but a lot of times we have to write the story below it. Well, going in there and saying, provide me with a blog post that would be of interest to potential home buyers in our area in regards to the information provided in this, graph. That gives us the ability to let it do that. Again, we always talk about polishing. You want to make sure you put it in your own language and your own words, but it does all the heavy lifting for you. And so we've been utilizing it in a way that we can take a graphic, utilize it, plug it in, and then we're using the picture and the graphic just from KCM, like we're talking about specifically like with that one. And then we're writing the blog post below it. And a lot of that heavy lifting is being done by the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and hopefully this episode helped you understand the three big chatbots that are available, AI chatbots, and which one to use when. And it's a free comparison. So if you're like me, if it's for free, it's for me in most cases. So I would have all three tabs open, and depending on what you're doing, go to the right one. And hopefully this episode provided that clarity.
Hey, I hope everybody got some value out of this. Listen, if it was good, even though it was free, and I know it was for me, make sure you let Rajiv know how much you appreciate him. I'll tell you what, I am learning more and more every single time I sit with Rajiv. We're both studying this so that you guys hopefully will have the cliff notes from us on how you can apply it in your real estate business and serve your clients at the highest level. Take care. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.